video. Quiet time is not what I'm going to talk about, even though I want to, because I love quiet time. And the name of my next book is Quiet Time. And that's going to be the name of those 8 steps. The first thing that I created, 8 steps to more inspiration, possibility, and creativity. So in quiet time, and quiet time being that you take time to yourself. You take time to be the noticer of your inside world. So I'm looking at my phone right now as I'm videoing, but in my phone, I can look at the physical structure of the phone. It appears to be a 3-dimensional object. It's hard. It's a physical thing. But this videoing and accessing the internet and the apps, like there's this whole world that exists within the physical phone, so the non-physical. So as humans, we have this physical body, but there's our mind and this whole world within the non-physical. So an integrated state, I heard this at yoga earlier this month. The integrated state, as you begin the yoga practice, anchoring mind into body. I just like that visual. So mind anchored into body, integrated state. There's several ways that I have learned to teach integrated state, and I've never really actually, I teach them a lot in my notes and stuff, but I haven't really outwardly shared some of the ways that I think of an integrated state. But I often use when I talk about the inside world, break it down into these parts of the nervous system. So mind space, heart space, belly space, muscles, and skin. So based off the last video I made, the inner senses. So our sensual experience of life can be being present in the moments of our physical senses. So being present in what we see, what we hear, what we smell, taste, touch. But we have these inner senses. So in quiet time, we can orient and anchor in and bring our presence to our inner senses. Our inner senses, where am I in space and time? So even a meditation can be just orienting to mind space and just being the noticer, mind space, heart space, belly space, muscles, skin, proprioceptive sense. Where am I in space and time? And just noticing top, bottom, side, front, back, just being the noticer. And so the vestibular sense, as a meditative practice, you can go through those same areas, mind space, and just noticing too much, not enough, just right, and just being the noticer. Mind space, heart space, belly space, muscles, skin, vestibular sense. My inner sense of balance, too much, not enough, or just right. And then my tactile sense would be my sense of comfort. So that can just be becoming the noticer of like where you are in space and time and the environment. Like, are you comfortable or uncomfortable? Are your temperature? Is it a comfortable temperature? Is your clothing comfortable? Even like with hair, if you have like something that's like too tight. So just tactile, which I did not include on the last video, but tactile is an inner sense, comfortable or uncomfortable. And you can think of these inner senses like the cell's smallest unit of life It needs to remain intact, have integrity. It needs to be fluid, and it needs to have a sense of balance. So the cell had to know itself. So that cell had a sense of where it was in space and time. It had a sense of too much, not enough, just right. It had a sense of comfort, so tactile, like if something was pushing against it, or sharp. And then the inner sense of interoceptive sense. So in quiet time is when you orient yourself to you. You're noticing your thinking, you're noticing the way your feelings feel, your experience, your sensations of feeling, noticing urges and impulses, noticing and orienting to how you want to show up and express yourself, noticing or becoming more comfortable with your own intuition, your own sense of self. So the interoceptive sense is noticing this is mine. And when we get out into the world, noticing that when thoughts show up, is it mine? Is that me? Or is that this collective around me? And the more time you spend in quiet time and being true to yourself, the more natural your sense of your interoceptive sense, if you're taking on what's the energy around you, and practicing ways to mind anchored into body to get into your truth and to orient from there. So self-care is caring about yourself and the thoughts you think and the story they tell. But then you're part of a whole. So community care is a natural next step from self-care. And I think caring about your community, when you bring a regulated, authentic, best version of you into your community, I feel like that's community care, and that's enough as it is. But I think when we attune and we orient to how we want to show up and express ourselves, there's this natural reciprocity in our communities, being part of a community and valuing the people in that community as resources, as whole humans, as problem solvers, as solution finders. So integrated state, mind anchored in body, attuning to your inner senses through some kind in quiet time, just orienting to where I am in space and time, orienting to these parts of your nervous system, your inside world, and attuning to the best version of yourself, learning how to trust your intuition, learning how to integrate into this well-being, the state of what's possible, instead of feeling continually stuck and spinning in what seems to be impossible. Life and the experience of life is a co-creative experience. That as we start to attune to our inside world, we start to notice that we're in on the game, and that when we know what we don't want, we're automatically creating this desired outcome. But if we keep being stuck and spinning in what we don't want, we forget that there's this whole thing we do want that we can orient to and start to integrate into that sense of the possibility of this access to freedom and flow and fun, playfulness, having a sensual experience of day.